You believe you eat only with your mouth, but what if I told you that every moment of your existence you are consuming three entirely different substances, and your ignorance of this fact is precisely why you remain asleep throughout your life? In this episode, Gurdjieff reveals the three sacred foods of man that nourish the path towards spiritual awakening if consumed correctly. Stay with us till the end to uncover the depth of this profound mystery. And if his wisdom resonates with you, consider joining our community by subscribing to the channel. Now presenting The Mystery of Three Foods of Man, narrated from Gurdjieff's perspective. Sit quietly for a moment and observe yourself. You believe yourself to be a single, unified being moving through the world with conscious intention. This belief is your first illusion. You are a factory, a three-storied factory with processes running continuously, consuming raw materials and producing substances you know nothing about. Most of what you produce is wasted, burned up, maintaining the machinery itself, while the precious materials that could create higher consciousness evaporate unused because you do not understand the business you are operating. I will teach you something your education never mentioned, something the sciences have overlooked despite their elaborate investigations into human physiology. The organism requires three distinct types of nourishment to sustain existence, and each food serves purposes far beyond what ordinary understanding recognizes. These three substances enter you constantly, yet you remain unconscious of two of them and understand almost nothing about the third. The first food is obvious to everyone: the substances you put into your mouth, chew, swallow, and digest. Bread, meat, vegetables, water. These materials enter your body and, through complex chemical processes, become the tissues and energy that maintain physical life. Any child understands this basic principle. Yet even here, in this most familiar domain, profound ignorance prevails about what is actually occurring. When you eat mechanically, paying no attention to what enters your organism, rushing through meals while your mind occupies itself elsewhere, you extract only a fraction of the nourishment available in the food. The body processes these materials automatically, yes, following programs established over millions of years of evolution. Yet, the quality of transformation depends entirely on the state of your consciousness during the act of eating. I have watched people consume elaborate meals prepared with the finest ingredients while obtaining less nourishment than a peasant receives from simple bread eaten with full attention. The presence or absence of consciousness during eating determines how thoroughly the organism can break down and assimilate what you provide it. When awareness accompanies the meal, substances are extracted that mechanical digestion never touches, finer materials that can be used for purposes far beyond merely maintaining the physical machinery. Your organism can survive surprisingly long without this first food. Cases exist of people fasting for 60 days or more, losing no vitality and recovering quickly once they resume eating. The body contains reserves, stores of material that can sustain basic functions when a fresh supply stops arriving. This resilience demonstrates that while physical food is necessary, it is perhaps the least urgent of the three foods I am describing. Yet even this coarse material, properly digested through conscious attention, produces substances the organism can use for higher purposes. The lower story of your factory, the abdomen, processes this food through increasingly refined stages, extracting energies of different densities and qualities. Most people waste 90% of what they consume because they never learn to participate consciously in their own digestion. The second food is less obvious, though once mentioned, people quickly agree that air functions as nourishment. You breathe continuously from the first moment after birth until final exhalation at death. Every cell in your body requires the substances air provides, particularly the brain, which consumes vast quantities of these materials. Without air, you survive mere minutes, 3, perhaps 4 at most, before the organism begins irreversible damage. This middle food enters your chest, the second story of the factory. Here, it transforms similarly to what happens with physical nourishment, passing through stages of refinement that extract increasingly subtle substances. Breathing occurs automatically, controlled by ancient mechanisms operating far below conscious awareness. Yet, like eating, the quality of air's transformation depends on whether consciousness participates in the process. When you breathe mechanically, as you do throughout most of your day, you extract only what the automatic systems can process. The lungs fill and empty, oxygen enters the blood, carbon dioxide is expelled. All of this happens whether you pay attention or observe nothing. Yet breathing contains possibilities far beyond what mechanical respiration achieves. Air carries substances your science has not measured, energies that Eastern traditions call prana, materials of extreme refinement that can be absorbed only when awareness guides the breath. Conscious breathing, where attention remains present throughout the entire cycle of inhalation, pause, exhalation, pause, transforms ordinary respiration into something else entirely. The organism begins extracting materials that mechanical breathing never touches. Without these materials, all talk of spiritual development remains mere philosophy, pleasant ideas with no basis in actual transformation. The air you breathe saturates itself with impressions of your environment. The atmosphere of a place enters you with each inhalation. The quality of a forest differs entirely from city air. Mountain breathing carries substances unavailable at sea level. Yet beyond physical location, the psychological atmosphere surrounding you infuses the air with qualities that affect what you absorb. This is why the company you keep, the environments you inhabit, and the activities you engage in all matter far more than people typically recognize. You are literally breathing in these influences, allowing them to become part of your internal chemistry. Now we arrive at the third food, the most important, the one almost completely ignored by your civilization, despite being essential for anything resembling genuine human existence. This food is impressions, everything that enters you through your senses, all the data streaming into your consciousness through eyes, ears, skin, nose, tongue. Every sound, every sight, every sensation represents energy entering your organism from outside, and this energy is food in the most literal sense. Consider this carefully. With every impression, whether vision, sound, smell, or touch, you receive a certain quantity of energy, a definite number of vibrations. This energy entering the organism from outside is food. Moreover, energy cannot be transmitted without matter. Each impression arrives carrying material substance, however fine, and this substance must be processed, digested, assimilated, just like food eaten with your mouth or air breathed through your lungs. The third story of your factory, the head, receives this food of impressions continuously during waking hours. Images flow into your eyes, sounds enter your ears, sensations register on your skin, all of it pouring into consciousness like water flowing into a reservoir. Yet, here is what you must understand. These impressions arrive raw, unprocessed, and without conscious effort on your part. They pass through you without transformation, producing nothing of value, depositing no materials that could be used for higher development. Impressions enter your head as material of a certain density. Let us call it Do-48 in the language of vibrations. For this material to transform into something finer, something the organism can actually use for consciousness rather than mere mechanical reaction, a specific kind of effort must be made at the precise moment the impression arrives. This effort is what separates the sleeping person from someone beginning to awaken. The capacity to be present, aware, self-remembering at the instant impressions enter. When you look at a tree mechanically, lost in thought, the impression of the tree passes through you, producing almost nothing useful. The image registers, yes, perhaps triggers associations or memories, but no real transformation occurs. The energy contained in that visual impression is wasted, consumed in maintaining the mechanical processes that allow you to continue walking, thinking, reacting. When you look at the same tree with presence, with the awareness that I am here, seeing this tree, experiencing this moment, everything changes. The impression undergoes transformation, producing substances of a finer order that can be stored and used for purposes ordinary consciousness knows nothing about. This brings us to why I insist that everything you do, eating, breathing, experiencing impressions, should be approached as a sacred activity, not in some religious sense, but as practical recognition of cosmic processes operating through your organism. Each time you eat, you put yourself into direct, immediate contact with universal laws. The food on your plate was once soil, water, sunlight, transformed by plants or animals into forms your body can use. These materials carry within them energies from the sun itself, cosmic forces concentrated into physical substance. When you eat consciously, with attention to what you are doing, gratitude for what you receive, awareness of the sacrifice other life has made to sustain yours, you participate in a sacred exchange. The universe provides you nourishment. You receive it with consciousness rather than mechanical consumption. This conscious reception changes the transaction entirely, extracting materials that unconscious eating never produces. Similarly, with breathing, you exchange gases with plants, which breathe what you exhale and exhale what you require. This reciprocal feeding operates throughout the cosmos at every scale, from molecules to galaxies. When you breathe consciously, you participate knowingly in this exchange rather than remaining ignorant of the process sustaining your existence. With impressions, the sacred nature becomes even more apparent. Every person you meet, every landscape you witness, every moment of your life delivers energy to you in the form of impressions. You are constantly being fed by the world, yet like an infant unable to digest solid food, you process these impressions poorly, extracting almost no nourishment from the feast life continuously provides. Your factory runs constantly, consuming vast quantities of all three foods, producing various substances through complex transformations. Yet examine what happens to what is produced. The overwhelming majority is consumed simply maintaining the factory itself, keeping your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your body temperature regulated, your thoughts flowing. Almost nothing is left over for higher purposes, for actually developing consciousness, for creating anything beyond basic survival. Imagine a business managed this way, consuming enormous resources, working continuously, yet producing no actual profit because everything generated must be immediately consumed, maintaining the operation. This is how you live. You eat 3 meals daily, breathe 20,000 times, receive millions of impressions, and at the end of years of this activity, you have developed nothing beyond what nature provided at birth. Your potential for consciousness remains dormant, unused, like a muscle that has never been exercised. The factory is well designed for the production of higher materials, yet through ignorance of its top administration, meaning your lack of understanding about how you function, you manage the business extremely uneconomically. The design allows for the creation of substances that could support the development of higher bodies, permanent consciousness, and genuine being. Yet, without knowledge of how to operate the machinery properly, these precious materials are never produced, or if produced accidentally, are wasted because you do not know how to store them or what to do with them. Here is the secret that changes everything. Impressions can be transformed through what I call the first conscious shock, deliberate effort to be present, to remember yourself. At the moment impressions enter. This single practice, maintained consistently, transforms the entire operation of your factory. Impressions entering as lower substances transform into finer substances, or even higher, when consciousness participates in their reception. These transformed impressions produce the materials required for building what I call the astral body, the first higher body that can exist somewhat independently of physical machinery. Without these materials, all talk of immortality, of consciousness surviving bodily death, of spiritual development remains empty philosophy. You cannot build something from nothing. Higher consciousness requires specific materials, and these materials are produced only through conscious transformation of the impressions you receive. This is why the quality of what you allow into your awareness matters so profoundly. If you expose yourself constantly to coarse impressions, violence, vulgarity, mechanical entertainment that requires no thought or feeling, you provide your organism with low-quality raw materials. Whatever you produce from these materials will necessarily be crude, insufficient for purposes of actual development. If you choose impressions of beauty, complexity, depth, art, nature, genuine human interaction, ideas that challenge and expand understanding, you provide materials from which something valuable can be manufactured. The nervous system blends all three foods, physical nourishment, air, impressions, in ways your science is only beginning to understand. These materials interact, each affecting how the others are processed. This is why someone who eats poorly, breathes shallowly, and consumes only mechanical impressions produces practically nothing useful, while someone who eats consciously, breathes with awareness, and receives impressions with presence begins accumulating materials for higher development. Understanding the three foods theoretically accomplishes nothing. You must learn through practice, through concrete experiments with your own organism, how to participate consciously in these processes. Begin with eating. Choose one meal daily to consume with complete attention, observing the food, tasting it fully, and being aware of yourself eating. This simple practice will teach you more than 1,000 books about the relationship between consciousness and nourishment. Then, experiment with breathing. Several times daily, stop whatever you are doing and observe your breath for several minutes. Do not change it. Do not try to breathe correctly. Simply watch. Notice the rhythm, the depth, the pauses. Feel the air entering and leaving. Be present to this most fundamental activity of your existence. Gradually, you will discover that conscious breathing provides energy of a quality that mechanical respiration never delivers. Finally, work with impressions. Choose moments throughout your day to be fully present to what you are experiencing. Looking at your hand, really seeing it rather than merely glancing mechanically. Listening to sounds, truly hearing them rather than allowing them to pass unnoticed. Tasting food with full attention. Feeling the sensations of your body against the chair, your feet on the floor. These apparently simple exercises begin transforming how impressions are processed, producing materials your factory currently wastes. Remember, nature delivers these 3 foods to you constantly, as tangibly as the meals you eat. Air and impressions arrive whether you pay attention or remain unconscious. The difference is what you produce from what arrives. Mechanical reception produces mechanical results, enough to keep the factory running, nothing more. Conscious reception produces materials that can be used for purposes beyond mere survival, for actually becoming something beyond a sophisticated biological machine responding automatically to stimuli. The choice is yours each moment. Remain asleep, consuming everything mechanically and producing nothing of value, or begin participating consciously in the sacred processes that sustain your existence, transforming the 3 foods nature provides into the materials from which genuine being can be constructed.